are going to start with this wooden Christmas tree that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. It is a large size, so we are going to not worry about this hole on the top of it because we're going to take some scrapbook paper. This came out of the Country Christmas paper pack from Hobby Lobby. It has snowflakes on it, and I just thought it was very pretty. We're going to take a layer of Mod Podge and apply it to the Christmas tree. And then you want to make sure that completely dries. Right here I'm just using a heat gun. You can use a hair dryer or you can just let it sit out. And then I'm going to take a second coat of the Mod Podge, put it on the Christmas tree. Then we're going to take that scrapbook paper and lay it on top of the Christmas tree. You want to make sure you smooth that out very well. You can use brayer, your fingertips. And I just have a tendency to do a little bit of everything. I just want to make sure it's stuck down. But then I'll take my iron just in case any of it had a chance to dry before I got it pressed in, just to reactivate that Mod Podge. Next, I'm gonna cut off a piece of the scrapbook paper so I can use for the top section of the tree that's not covered yet. And then I'm just going to line it up just when it looks like it's flawless, the lines match up, and I got lucky and on the first try. And then just apply some more Mod Podge up there on the top. And then you can put that piece of paper on top. And of course you're going to want to let that dry, and then once it's dry we can go ahead and trim out around the edges. I like to start with some scissors and just cut as close as I can, but then once I've got all that cut out, I'm going to go back around it and get even closer with an X-Acto knife. Then you're going to want to make sure you sand in a downward motion to get the rest of that paper off of there. And that's just going to give it a flawless look. Then I'm going to take some jute rope and I'm going to wrap that around the stem of the tree, securing it in place with hot glue. Now we're going to use some of the tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree, and we're going to make a stand. You're going to need 6 pieces of the towering blocks, and you're going to take 3 pieces each and glue them on the short side together, creating a 3-piece for the front and 3-piece for the rear of the support. And you can see here what I'm talking about. Okay, and then with some hot glue, you're just going to glue one of the 3-piece sides to the rear, and then one of the 3-piece sides to the front of the tree. And that's going to give it a base where it'll stand on its own. Now, as far as the base itself, I'm going to choose to leave it in its natural state. But if you want to paint it, you can do so. You can stain it a darker color. You do with it what makes you happy. You put ribbon around it, but it's all up to you. Now right here, I've got a star that came in some ornaments I had purchased from Walmart quite a while back, a couple years at least. And it's kind of a foamy, like it's got a filling inside of it. But I'm going to use that and just glue it to the top of the tree. I know it's just so pretty. I could leave it like this, but we're going to add some embellishments. I'm going to take some more of that jute cord and wrap it around the top third of the tree. I've got this metal snowflake ornament that I had also purchased from Walmart a few years ago. And I'm going to string it through the jute cord just so it hangs down. And then we're just going to tie it around in the back, use some hot glue to secure it in a few different spots just to keep it in place. And then because those little hairs drive me absolutely insane, I don't know why, but they do, I'm just gonna go ahead and burn it off. Just if you decide to do this, have some water nearby, just in case. You just wanna be careful. Now it's time to add some greenery. I'm going to use these picks I had gotten from the Dollar Tree, I believe last year. And we're just going to trim down 2 small sections of it, making it into a little swag, and wrap some jute twine around the center of it, securing those 2 pieces in place. And then you're going to want to make sure when you tie that you leave the tails hanging down. Now I'm going to take some red bells I had picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to attach those to the tails that we left hanging down. And then I'm just going to tie them in the place that I think they look best. Then I'm just going to take a little dab of hot glue and I'm just going to glue where we knotted, just to keep it from untying on itself. Now I'm going to cut off some berries that I had purchased at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to attach them to each end of the swag. And I'll secure them in place by just shoving them under the rope that's wrapped around the swag. Right, then I'm just going to glue that swag down with some hot glue. And I still felt like it was missing something, so I am going to add a few little pine cones right here in the center. And here it is complete, and I think it turned out very well. What do you guys think? right, the next thing we're going to work on is this little wooden sleigh I had also gotten from the Dollar Tree. Just cutting off all the rope because we're not going to need that. I'm going to apply a layer of Mod Podge, let that dry, and then we're going to apply a second coat of Mod Podge. And then out of that same pad of scrapbook paper, I'm going to go ahead and choose this red and black plaid and apply that to the sled. Make sure I smooth it out as well as I can. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the iron once again, and I'm going to go over that, activating that Mod Podge, just in case some of it had a chance to dry before I put that paper on. And once that's had a chance to dry, we can go ahead and trim off the excess paper. And again, we'll have to use an X-Acto knife to get in some of those little tight spaces. And then we're going to make sure we sand that down in that downward motion as well. I'm going to go ahead and paint the blades around the sled with a steel gray from Folk Art. It's an acrylic paint. It doesn't have to be acrylic. You can use chalk paint if that's what you have. But I'm going to go completely around it with that color. Then I'm going to take some burnt umber from Apple Barrel paint, and I am going to distress around the edges, especially since I tore that section of paper. It's just going to help disguise that. And then once I go around those edges, I'm also going to go ahead and distress around the blades area, because you know, sleighs sit out, they don't get cleaned up properly, well, they're going to rust a little. So let's just add those details while we're at it. All right, now it's time to embellish our sled. And I have got some burlap that I picked up from the Dollar Tree in this really pretty Christmas design. And I'm going to take 10 inches of that, and then I'm going to cut that 10 inches into 4 equal pieces. Then we're going to take those 4 strands and gather them evenly together. And then I'm just going to tie a simple knot right down the center. All right, and then we're just going to make it look like we want it to look like. I'm just going to pull those tails away from each other. And then I will trim the ends in an angle to give it a crisp look. And then we're just going to glue that down with some hot glue. Then I'm also going to tack down those tails with some glue just to keep them in position. Then I'm just going to add this little rustic metal Christmas tree that had also come in that ornament set that I had bought from Walmart. And then we're all finished. I think it looks really good. What do you guys think? And now on to our final project. We're going to take the 2 books that I had picked up from the Dollar Tree as well. And we're going to paint them I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white, and it only took one coat for me, but it might take 2 coats for you, so just use your best judgment. And let's just make sure it dries before we pick it up to paint the rest of it. And we want to make sure we get the sides and the back, and also open the book and make sure you get around the trim. And then you just want to make sure it's completely dried. And then I'm going to be stacking these one on top of another, the smaller one on top. And then I'm going to, with my Cricut, since I have the world's worst penmanship and I don't have any stickers small enough, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the words Merry Christmas. And just in case, if you guys do have a Cricut machine, I will list the fonts in the description box below. But you definitely want to make sure you measure the space first. You're going to notice those Christmas trees that I had put after the word Christmas. Well, I do end up removing those and doing something different. I had noticed in my stash I had these little wooden Christmas trees I picked up from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to use one of those, and I'm going to paint it in the color Antique Green from Folk Art in their chalk paint. And then I'm going to take a small eye hook, and I am going to put that in the top of the tree. Now you see me painting it here. You might just want to go ahead and screw that into the top and then paint it all as a one. It'll just save you from having to touch it up. I'm just going to take some red and black buffalo check ribbon that I had purchased from, I believe, Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to wrap it around the book, securing it with some hot glue. Now we're just going to take some twine and wrap that around the ribbon. And I'm going to take that Christmas tree with the eye hook and just loop that through the ribbon. And I'm going to put it in a position to where it just hangs along the side of the book so you can see it from the front. And then I'll just tie it off so it stays in place. Then we're just going to secure the tails of the twine around the back of the book, securing it with some hot glue. And our third and final project is complete. I think it's beautiful. What do you guys think? All right, there's everything on display.
I think it turned out so pretty. I just threw some poinsettias there to give a little bit of color and Christmas vibes. I just love red for Christmas time.
And I just want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to watch my video. I hope it's given you some inspiration. And if you haven't already, I hope you consider subscribing to my channel. Also, make sure to like the video and let me know which one of these 3 projects was your favorite. And I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.